Let's just jump right into it. Welcome to this explainer. Today we're zeroing in on a really fascinating new product hitting one of the most insanely lucrative and frankly, fiercely competitive niches in publishing today. I'm talking about Amazon KDP romance, and specifically, billionaire romance. If you've been around this space for even a minute, you already know there's this massive, almost insatiable demand from readers for these stories. And of course, that puts intense pressure on authors to publish super rapidly just to stay relevant. Right on cue, a new digital tool called the Billionaire Power Couple Romance Story Engine has dropped, and it's promising to completely automate the absolute hardest part of the writing process. But, you know us, we've got to separate the slick marketing hype from the actual on-the-ground creative value. Let's see what this thing is really made of.
Here's our roadmap for today's breakdown. We've got 1. The Billionaire Romance Boom. 2. Inside the Blueprint Vault. 3. Exposing the Sales Funnel. 4. The PLR License Trap. And 5. Our final verdict and value. Let's get into it.
All right, kicking things off with Section 1, the Billionaire Romance Boom. Amazon KDP's top niche.
So to really get this, we have to acknowledge just how absolutely dominant the Kindle Unlimited romance niche is right now. It's a total powerhouse, but standing out? That requires constant rapid-fire publishing. Which brings us to a highly alluring question that this product's sales page uses to hook you. What if your next Kindle bestseller was already outlined for you? I mean, for AI-assisted authors, rapid-release publishers, and ghostwriters, you know that the biggest bottleneck isn't actually typing out the words, right? It's that brutal 2 a.m. mental block of trying to come up with fresh, engaging plots day in and day out. Staring at a blinking cursor on a blank page is just exhausting. So, this product positions itself as the ultimate cure for writer's block.
And they back up that bold promise with a pretty staggering number. Over 700 fully developed story blueprints are included right in the core product. Now, we aren't just talking about a short, lazy list of generic writing prompts like, write about a rich guy. No, we're talking about a massive vault of structural scaffolding. Just think about that for a second. Even if you were crazy enough to publish a book every single week, that is literally over a decade's worth of story structure right at your fingertips. That immense volume is exactly why this tool, which is advertised at just $17, is turning so many heads in the self-publishing community right now.
Before we peek inside that vault, though, we should probably talk about the creator. They go by the name PLR Empire. Now, digging into their background, well, this seller relies on some pretty generic marketing language, claiming to be a quote-unquote digital publishing strategist. But they don't really have a verifiable track record or any named prior products that we could find. However, independent launch calendars do absolutely confirm this is a real, scheduled launch. Also, super important side note here. This vendor is completely distinct from an older, completely unrelated brand that happens to share the name PLR Empire and sells site builders. So just to be clear, we are dealing with a brand new entity here.
Okay, moving right along to Section 2, Inside the Blueprint Vault, Substantial Content.
Let's actually look at the product itself and see how this builds into what is surprisingly a really dense and valuable creative asset. Because underneath all the marketing speak, the content here is actually super substantial. The vault is broken down into 7 distinct, highly established billionaire subgenres. We're talking everything from enemies to lovers featuring rival CEOs, to marriage of convenience, where those fake contractual marriages suddenly turn real, all the way over to romantic suspense packed with espionage and kidnappings. And here's where it gets genuinely interesting. Every single one of those 700-plus blueprints comes preloaded with named characters, specific industries, a layered conflict structure, and real-world global settings. Think places like Zurich and Monaco. Having all of those super specific details pre-planned, that removes the heaviest lifting of world building for you. It really proves this goes way beyond a generic list of prompts. This is genuine narrative architecture.
But hey, a blueprint is only as good as what you can actually build with it, right? So the product includes this highly structured 4-step workflow. Step 1, you use their 4 structural pillars method to prep the blueprint. Step 2, you feed their specific AI prompts into ChatGPT, Claude, or Gemini to expand that blueprint into a comprehensive outline. Step 3 uses another set of specialized prompts to generate the actual chapter-by-chapter manuscript. And finally, Step 4, they throw in a distribution guide for positioning your new book on KDP, Etsy, or even through your own newsletter funnels. So it's basically a complete end-to-end pipeline where AI is acting as your builder, but this tool is handing you the exact architectural blueprints.
All right, let's pivot to Section 3, Exposing the Sales Funnel, a reality check.
So while the creative vault itself is pretty stellar, the marketing mechanics behind it definitely require a reality check.
The very first discrepancy we noticed is a classic case of front-end price drift. The sales and JV pages heavily advertise the front-end product at $17. But if you check the Live Warrior Plus dashboard right now, the price is actually sitting at $12. Now this is most likely a dime sale mechanic, meaning the price fluctuates dynamically as more people hit the buy button, rather than some malicious bait and switch. Still, it's a great reminder, always confirm that live price at checkout before you hand over your credit card.
Now here is where things get a bit more, let's say, contentious. Right there on the sales page, there's this incredibly explicit customer-facing promise. It reads, one-time payment, lifetime access, instant download. No subscriptions, no upsells required, no hidden fees. I want you to keep that exact phrase in your head. No upsells required, as we pull back the curtain and look at what actually happens the second you hit that checkout button.
Take a look at this. Now, while no upsells required is technically true, nobody is holding you at gunpoint, forcing you to buy them. Clicking purchase drops you straight into a massive 7-stage gauntlet of upsell sequences. You can see these one-time offers, or OTOs, range anywhere from $27 to $57 a pop. If a buyer actually clicked yes on everything they put in front of you, that initial $12 or $17 purchase instantly balloons into a $271 funnel. It is a really stark contrast between that clean, friendly sales copy and the reality of the checkout experience.
This brings us to Section 4, the PLR license trap. Read the fine print.
We really need to examine the most significant fine print catch in this entire offer, because this could drastically change how you plan to use this product. It all comes down to 3 little letters, PLR. To understand the trap here, we've got to establish what private label rights, or PLR, actually means. In the digital marketing world, PLR conventionally means you, the buyer, have the legal right to rebrand the product itself and resell it as your own to other people. It's basically a license to become the vendor of that asset. And that is exactly why there's such a glaring conflict here between the product's title and its actual terms. The official Warrior Plus listing for this offer is quite literally named PLR Billionaire Power Couple Romance Story Engine. You'd think you know what you're getting, right? Well, actually, if you dig into the FAQ section on the sales page, the real license terms clearly state, can I use these for ghostwriting or client work? Absolutely. The only restriction is that you cannot resell or redistribute the prompt pack itself. So, let's lay down a firm license verdict. The terms here are, in reality, just a personal use plus client work license. It completely protects and empowers authors who are writing their own books, as well as ghostwriters churning out content for clients. But if you're a digital marketer who bought this specifically to slap your name on the PDF and resell the Blueprint Vault to other writers, which is exactly what you'd expect to do given the PLR title, you are going to be severely disappointed. Bottom line, you cannot resell the tool itself. All right, let's wrap this up with Section 5, Final Verdict and Value. Is it worth it?
Let's bring all this data together for our final value assessment, and I'll give you some practical consumer advice so you can make a truly informed decision. Check out your options for getting 700 high-quality romance plots. Doing it yourself? Well, it costs $0, sure, but it takes hours per plot. You are literally looking at weeks of non-stop work to generate 700 of these. Outsourcing it? Hiring a decent freelancer is going to cost you anywhere from $50 to $300 for a single outline. But then there's this, Story Engine tool. It gives you instant access to 700 structured, deeply developed blueprints for under $20. So honestly, despite that totally messy marketing funnel, the core product itself saves an absolutely astronomical amount of time and money.
If you do decide this is right for your publishing strategy, I've got a highly actionable pre-purchase checklist for you. Number 1, always confirm that live price at checkout. Number 2, openly acknowledge that this is a no resell license. You are buying this to write books, not to flip the prompts. Number 3, mentally prepare yourself for a 7-stage upsell sequence so you aren't caught off guard and clicking things you don't want. And 4, make absolutely sure you save your generated AI manuscripts externally somewhere safe. Remember, this tool gives you the blueprints, but it is not a long-term cloud storage solution for your finished books. Which leaves us with this final burning question for you. Is the trade-off of navigating a really frustrating 7-stage upsell funnel and having to decipher misleading PLR labeling actually worth it to unlock over 700 deep structural KDP romance blueprints for under $20? For active romance authors in the trenches, I gotta say, the massive time savings and the sheer creative value might easily outweigh those aggressive marketing tactics. But ultimately, it's totally up to you to decide if the destination is worth the journey. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and hey,